Good afternoon, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is Wednesday, February 3rd, the feast day of Saint Blaise. And he was a physician and bishop in modern day Turkey back in the 4th century. And he is the patron saint against throat illnesses because he used to be a physician and he used to heal bodily wounds. And then he became a priest and bishop, and then he healed spiritual wounds and healed people's souls. Anyway, patron saint against throat illnesses, and that is why they, if you recall, going to a Catholic Mass during this Mass on the weekends, they typically bless the throats. So that's Saint Blaise, if you've heard of him before. Anyway, today's Gospel is from Mark chapter 6, verses 1 through 6. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. He departed from there and came to his native place, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astonished. They said, "Where did this man get all this? What kind of wisdom has been given him? What mighty deeds are wrought by his hands? Is he not the carpenter, the son of Mary, and the brother of James and Joseph and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his native place and among his own kin and in his own house." So he was not able to perform any mighty deed there, apart from curing a few sick people by laying his hands on them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. Okay, so we see how Jesus is in his hometown. He's being rejected by all of his, everybody from his hometown. So he's noticing and recognizing that people have all these preconceived notions on who and what Jesus is all about because they have the advantage of knowing his entire upbringing. And they don't think how he can, how is this man so special and how can he do anything outside of the norm of what everybody else already considers Jesus. Which is very similar to what took place, I think. No, I'm losing my train of thought here. But you know, anybody that watches these videos, you know how difficult it is to refer back to who you were before whenever a change happens. So whether whenever you go and hang out with your college buddies, you become who you were in college because that's how they know you. Or whenever you hang out with your high school buddies, like you typically become like you were in high school. Or if you become, you kind of blend into where you're used to, and that's what makes it so hard for Jesus to accomplish anything in his hometown. And I think we can all relate to that, of trying to make sure that we stay true to who we are or who we've become in the midst of our conversion or the midst of our transition or transformation into who it is that God is calling us to be. And oftentimes it's a lifelong struggle for people to figure that out. So anyway, with all of this, Jesus couldn't do any healings in the people from his hometown because they just think he's the son of Mary, the son of Joseph the carpenter, and he just couldn't do many healings because of their lack of faith, because they thought he was just some regular Joe Schmo, which in a way he was. But it should also be like a challenge that any normal person can have a major impact on the world. Nothing compared to what Jesus did, but we can gather something from that. So something within that is that Jesus didn't stay in his hometown very often. I think he was raised there. He did his 3-year ministry, but then he came back and then they killed him. Right? So Jesus wasn't concerned about them and their non-belief because it's on them. That's why God gave us free will. But he left, and that's something that we can kind of gain from Jesus' example there, is that we shouldn't be concerned about what other people think, especially whenever we're trying our best to grow in virtue. And no matter what it is that you're thinking about doing or what you wanted to do or what you can do, as long as whatever you're doing is good and God would deem it as virtuous and would provide service for others, it shouldn't really matter. because the only one that we should be trying to please is God anyway. So there's the challenge. Have a great day. God bless, and keep it real. In the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.